Okay, so time has finally come to go through our code. But before we actually start working or start looking into the code, there are a few important things I wanted to talk to you about. So the first thing is you need to go to your resources section, and from there you can actually bring your the Python file, which is SQLite MCP version 2. And one thing you will notice is that you will start getting these kind of warnings. Now, the thing what I noticed is that this is something probably which is happening with Visual Studio Code, or maybe my version of VS Code or the latest version of VS Code which I am on. So it might be different in your case because what happens is when actually you do a UV init, a UV add, all those where it's actually creating a new virtual environment, it should automatically pick that environment. But for some reason, I've seen that sometimes it doesn't pick. So there is a workaround, you don't have to worry about it. So if you see here, this is where it actually shows you the Python environment. In this case, it is user local bin Python. That's why even though we have the packages installed, you see these errors. So the best way to work on this is you go to your environment and you actually open your virtual environment, and you will go to the bin directory, and from there you can actually copy the Python path. So this is the path, and you just simply copy the path. You click here and it says enter interpreter path, right? So here click and give this path and hit enter, and you should see that this should actually start disappearing pretty soon. Yes, bingo. So all these have disappeared. One thing, job done. Now let's try and get an understanding of our code. Right, so what we need to do is we need to actually look into a few things. And so the first thing is you are actually importing the necessary libraries, right? So you are saying that import asyncio, import OS. So asyncio is used for running asynchronous code, right? OS actually helps you to interact with environment variables like API keys, because we'll be keeping API keys. We have the API key stored here in the environment variable. Then we have from .env import load.env. As you know, we are loading the environment variable from the .env file. Then we have from MCP import client session stdio server parameters. So MCP actually provides the classes and the methods to work with the MCP protocol. So this is where I should say this is the heart and soul of MCP, right? So then you talk about the stdio client. And the stdio client is a client for communicating with the MCP server over standard input and output, right? Then we have the LangChain. If you see LangChain MCP adapter, we are using the load MCP tool. So load MCP tool is helping you to load the tools, all the capabilities provided by MCP server, and translating it to LangChain. That's what we already discussed. Then we have the create React agent. So the create React agent, if you see React, so RE-act. RE stands for reasoning and ACT stands for actioning. So it is a pre-built agent that uses a React pattern. And then we have something called Chat Google Generative AI, which is a LangChain wrapper for Google's Gemini model, right? Then important thing is load.env. Now we need to load our environment file, and what I normally do is I simply go here and again copy the path and actually go to my directory and just simply put here so that my path is right. So this is my path, MCP SQLite langchain.env, and then I'm printing it. And here a very important thing is the model that I'm going to use, right? So we are here initializing the Gemini model using the LangChain wrapper. So the LangChain wrapper that I said we have is Chat Google Generative AI. Model is Gemini 2.0 Flash, and the API key we are getting from the environment variable. Pretty straightforward. Then we have to give some server parameters, which is stdio server parameters, and in a way you can think of it, we are actually running the MCP server at this point, and all it needs is the right directory. So you should check that you are in the right path. So if I actually go back, the path that I had taken, so I need to use this path, right? And I put it here. So you have to go up to SQLite. And then you are saying run MCP server SQLite. So which MCP server are we running? We are running the MCP server SQLite, and it says DB path. This is my database path. So this is the database.db path that you need to give. Pretty straightforward, I believe. So then we just define a helper to process a user query. So this is kind of a function we are giving, which asynchronously sends the query to the agent and retrieves the final response. And the agent follows the React paradigm to decide on how to use the tools and respond, right? And then we come to the main logic of the program, pretty small and straightforward. If you see, we say async main, and with this we are saying stdio client server parameters as read write. So all we are doing here is, in this piece of code, we are actually launching the MCP server and establishing a standard input output communication, right? And the read and write are the streams for interacting with the server, right? Then if you see, we have something called tools is equal to await load MCP tools. Now we've spoken about load MCP tools several times. It dynamically loads the tools or functions like SQL query execution provided by SQLite backed MCP server. And the next one is agent. So here you are actually creating a LangChain React agent, right? So you are creating an agent that uses Gemini model and can call MCP tools based on user queries. And then it says just print that SQLite assistant is there ready, and this is just a simple while loop because we don't want to exit till the user says exit, right? And you can see that it repeatedly asks the user for input. If the user types exit, the loop breaks and sends the input to the agent and prints the response. And in the end, we are just simply running the main asynchronous function inside an asynchronous IO event loop. And this is necessary because the main uses the await function, right? So in summary, we have LangChain framework to build the React agent with tools. We have MCP, which is a protocol to abstract the tools like database queries. We have the MCP SQLite server, which is executing the actual queries using SQLite backend. We have the Gemini model, which is our LLM, which understands the queries and decides when to call the tools. And then we have load MCP tools, which loads the tools from the server so that the agent can understand those tools. And then we have the create React agent, which is nothing but building an LLM agent that can think and act. So I think this actually gave you a good understanding of the code. If you see, it is not a very big code. I've kept things really simple because it's a beginners to pro course, right? So it's a simple code. In the next lecture, I'll show you how you can execute the code. Keep watching.